Welcome to episode 2 of AI. Elton's back in the studio. Last week, the intro. This week, we want to get into a bit more detail of AI. What is it? Let's get a better understanding. Elton, welcome back. We're going to try and explain this in about 10 minutes, so let's give it a go. Construction, that's what we're all in. How can it help, broadly speaking, the industry if you're an SME or up to a tier 1?
Okay, so it's a huge question because it can help in lots of ways. So if you remember last week we were talking about pattern matching. So at one level, what I would say is if you've got anything within your business, micro, tier 1, doesn't matter. If you've got something in your business that is really about a pattern, repetitive tasks, patterns, anything like that, then it can help. So let me give a few actual examples rather than just being theoretical. So if I'm a tier 1, I have people going on big sites and I need them to wear proper PPE. They've got to be wearing their kit. I can use imaging technology to work out who is using the kit using AI because it's a pattern. It's really, really simple. You know that fluorescent colour that we see on the jackets pretty much stands out a bit. You know the fact that we've got a solid shape of hat as opposed to some hair stands out, face mask, whatever it happens to be. So that's a sort of use case on a tier 1. If I look at something like a micro business and take it back down to its real basics of what AI is currently doing, it might be helping to rewrite an email. So the customer throws in a really shirty email. They're probably just trying to get money off the bill. No offense to the customers, but it happens. And you want to reply with your, the red mist has come on, and you want to go back with the reply because you know you've done a good job. Yeah. AI can create a degree of separation and it can write it in a specific way. And if you've prepped it up first, it will give it exactly how you wanted to say it rather than how you wanted to say it in the moment. Or you might just not be good with words, it might be that.
Yeah.
But essentially, there's two extremes there in terms of one is just using a tool like a ChatGPT or a Gemini or all of these, there's lots of these LLMs, we call them, large language models. Tools like ChatGPT, that's really simple, and lots of people are probably already doing that for various things, maybe even in their personal life. And then at the other end, we've got the tools like the checking whether you guys are wearing PPE, or you might be in manufacturing for the construction, checking that glass unit comes off the bed and it's not got any imperfections. So all sorts of ways that it could be used.
So with this in mind, where would somebody start? Obviously, there's companies like yourself, but where's the best place? Let's look at micro SME. Probably the ones that need more help because tier 1's have obviously got manpower and resource, etc. So where would you start?
Right. Don't start with what it can do. That's the biggest mistake. So most people now are going to look and go, wow, you can use AI to create videos. Wow, you can use AI to create brochures, or wow, you can, and they start thinking about what they need based on what it can do. Wrong place. Start with what you need. So what is it that you need the most right now? Do you really struggle with writing emails, to go back to that example? Then just start using something like a ChatGPT or a Claude or a Gemini. All of these names, they're the same thing. They're just different people who produce them. But use something simple like that. Don't think of, and it's a real danger with AI right now. And I'm sure at some point we'll talk about how it's all changing, but there's so much stuff being thrown at us. Forget that.
That's the key point. Look at what your company needs. Because I saw this thing the other day, and what it can do, editing of pictures you take, is just phenomenal. Do we need that? Not really, even though it looks great.
And it's a rabbit hole.
Yes.
And it's a rabbit hole, so people go down it because it can do it.
Can you ask them what you need?
Yes. So, I mean, that, to me, we're slightly diverting, but what LLMs are really good at is problem solving with you and brainstorming.
So this is another side of it, which is actually really interesting, not just changing a picture.
In our own businesses, we're using these tools to come up with new business ideas. And we're building tools and businesses off the back of what we're working with our GPT. You know, I said last week about how it's there to help. You know, I talk with my LLMs, as it were, and I'll use GPT because it's the most common, but I will chat with my GPT as though it's a friend. It's a friend. But it just turns out this particular friend knows a hell of a lot about law, accounts, design, construction, all of this stuff.
When would you say you need to think, okay, I need to start spending some money? Because as you rightly say, you can do an element yourself, but then it's your time.
Okay, so I think there's a few areas where you start looking at money and cost. First of all, the tools themselves. So like I said, a lot of these tools they will have like a free amount, and it's only a small amount. You know, look, AI is it's ridiculously expensive to run. You know, so we are talking about massive servers, you know, with huge water cooling requirements. You know, this isn't just cheap. It's not happening on your local PC. Well, not yet. There's something else to come in, but it's not happening on the PC you've got, you know, in your laptop bag. So, so they do need to charge a subscription, but even then, we're looking at like, I don't know, it's sort of £20 mark for this sort of stuff. It's that usual software as a service model. So you don't have to spend hundreds just to have access to it. You know, so you're talking about that £20 a month. In all the tools in Thinktivity, I think we're up to about 400 a month now. And there isn't much that we don't use. Wow. There isn't much we don't use.
You say it's expensive, but everything that you've got for that isn't
everything. The entire business. And bearing in mind, we're doing experimental stuff. You know, we're using like APIs to automate things and create bots and look through huge data sets. We're doing research and development. We're not just using it in our construction business. So it really isn't that expensive. But again, I'd come back to that word proportional. Because if you need some AI system building for you that has to be hosted in-house and it's going to run various things for you, then the costs are going to go up.
Yeah, of course.
But also, the costs are going up in line with the savings you're going to make. And that's why I always come back to that word proportional. You know, it can start to get expensive, but it's always within what you're going to get back.
I just want to finish this one on what you mentioned earlier about how things are developing. Because even over the last year or two, huge strides forward. So if we've got someone sitting there watching this thinking, crikey, I need to get on board with this AI thing, right, give your company or somebody a call or look at it themselves. Do you think actually hold off for the moment because it is evolving on a hourly basis, or start it now?
Okay, so I'd split that down to give the answer. I'd split it into AI tools and AI mindset. So the tools are always going to change, you know, and I know the speed of change is accelerating. I understand that, and it will continue to accelerate. But we didn't stick with our PC that was running Windows 3.1. You know, it kept changing, and we move it on all of the time, you know, and we didn't stick with our Nokia 3410. You know, so the tools that you start using today, they're not going to be the ones you use in 5 years. You know, they are going to evolve. You know, Google's going to see a huge change. You know, search engines, things that we thought were just here forever. You know, we're going to see huge changes all because of AI. So then I would talk about AI mindset, and that is about just getting into the mindset of having a helper that just happens to be a computer program. Well, that's very different because I apply that now if I want to do, let's say, a PowerPoint presentation, I'd never think about doing that on my own anymore. And yet,
It's
by the
really
way,
weird you say that, because I'm in the middle of one, and having been on the tools quite a long time, I'm trying to put simple things. Well, I think it's simple, but I can't do it.
yeah,
So you just get.
I just get my helper to do it. So in that case, I might use a program like Gamma, or there's all sorts of ones. I don't want to, because again, these names will change over time. Essentially, there are programs that will AI that will help you put together videos, images, text, sound, presentations, whatever it is you need. But I would never think. And actually, my whole career has been creating graphics and PowerPoints. That's where I come from. So if AI died tomorrow, it's not that I can't do it. I've always done it. It's just, why would I? Why would I now spend 10 hours doing something that takes me now an hour? If I'm sat there twiddling my thumbs, that's different. But not many of us these days are twiddling our thumbs. So I think now is the time you need to get onto it.
Yeah.
But from a mindset point of view, not necessarily a tools. You will need to use the tools. But what I mean is, don't get fixed into a tool. It's about getting into the mindset of, whenever I do something, I first ask my assistant. And it's getting into that mindset, and that's the difference. And whether you do that through just trial and error, or whether you go to like a Thinktivity and get some training, that just depends how quickly you want to do it. At the end of the day, that's just about, do I want to get in? What do I want my learning curve to look like? Do I want to get into it and start getting the benefits now, or do I just want to gradually dip my toe in and so on? That's what I would say.
Well, to elaborate on that, next week we're going to be looking at how you as a construction business can use AI, SME, Tier 1, Micro, Tier 3, whatever you are. Next week we'll be going into that in a lot more detail.